Next up this evening is new business. We have the presentation of our annual budget for fiscal year 24-25 by Rebecca Gay, our interim county manager. And I don't have my mic on, so I'm going to get yelled at. Before Rebecca begins, I just want to say to the public, this is just the presentation. We have gotten calls. We are not voting on this tonight. This is so that it can soak with the public for at least 30 days before we actually take action on this.
Because we are required to give 30
Right,
days.
we have to give 30
yes.
days soak time, so. Ms. Rebecca?
All right. Well, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to start with thank yous first so that I do not forget. This would have been an impossible task without the budget team. So thank you to our Finance Director, Sandra Hill, Assistant Finance Director, Karen Kraus, HR Director, Melissa Futrell, and Public Information Officer, Randall Edwards. So.
Thank you.
All right. I am pleased this evening to submit to you the fiscal year 2025 proposed budget. This proposed budget is prepared in accordance with North Carolina Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act. All right, so this proposed budget includes services that the county must provide, such as the services that are shown here on your screen, as well as those services that the community values. These are examples of services that we provide because the community has requested and or you all have placed value on these services. These community values are expressed through your policies, goals, and investments. This budget is a financially sound proposal addressing the important needs of this community. All right. So rising inflation rates have slowed, as you know, but we are continuing to see higher costs for materials and services. Sales tax revenues are also continuing to grow, but at a much slower rate than we have experienced post-COVID. In November of 2023, Currituck County was again ranked as the least distressed county in the state of North Carolina, receiving a Tier 3 designation for 2024 under the North Carolina Department of Commerce's development tier designations. The designation is based on 4 factors: adjusted property tax base per capita, population growth, median household income, and unemployment over a 12-month average. So these are the values for the county for 2024. As you can see, the county has the state's 3rd highest adjusted tax base per capita, the 2nd highest population growth between 2019 and 2022, the 4th highest median household income, and the 21st lowest unemployment rate between October of 2022 and September of 2023. While the county is grateful for these economic successes, it is difficult to understand how a rural county in northeastern North Carolina is ranked in the company of counties such as Wake, Chatham, Union, and Durham in this designation. All right. I also want to touch on the recent occupancy tax ruling from the North Carolina Court of Appeals, State Court of Appeals. Currituck County has historically utilized occupancy tax revenue to supplement the expense of providing public safety services in Corolla during the tourist season. Last year, as an example, you provided or approved a transfer of $3.39 million in occupancy tax revenue to support public safety in Corolla for emergency medical services and law enforcement. You also approved a $1.4 million transfer to the Corolla Fire Service District to support fire protection services. In doing so, you, as the Tourism Development Authority, in your best judgment, approved this expenditure. The use of these funds for public safety, among other expenses, was challenged by a group of Corolla property owners in 2019. The lawsuit claimed that the county spends occupancy tax revenue in violation of state statute. Initially, the trial court ruled in the county's favor, However, the Court of Appeals reversed the trial court decision in March of 2024. The Court of Appeals ruling prohibits the use of occupancy tax for public safety services. Therefore, this budget does not include a transfer of occupancy tax revenue to support law enforcement, emergency medical services, and fire protection in Corolla. So it remains a challenge to fund and provide services in the county with our unique geography and without other local governments to share in the provision of those services. In consideration of these challenges, current economic conditions, and the recent North Carolina Court of Appeals ruling, we will continue to seek additional revenue sources, including grant funding opportunities, and we will also evaluate opportunities for efficiencies in service delivery. All right, so let's talk about the general fund. So the general fund is our largest fund. It's the principal operating fund for the county. Its major operating activities include general government, administration, public safety, education, human services, and other governmental functions. Because of their importance and the cost to maintain personnel, vehicles, and facilities, this budget proposes an allocation of 37% of the general fund appropriation to departments associated with public safety. So these departments include the Sheriff's Office, Fire EMS, Emergency Management, Communications, Animal Services and Control, and the Detention Center. Also, in this recommended budget, it is proposed that 20% of the general fund appropriation is provided to education. So for general government, which covers many of our administrative functions such as legal or human resources, this proposed budget includes an appropriation of $11.7 million, or approximately 14% of the general fund appropriation. Part of this recommendation includes approximately $1.3 million investment for information technology hardware and secure IT systems. We are coming upon our 5-year computer replacement program for the county, so a little over $700,000 is appropriated towards computer replacement in fiscal year 25 in the general fund. All right. So public safety. Last year, you all committed to a vehicle replacement program, and this proposed budget continues that commitment to invest significant funding into vehicle replacement programs for the Sheriff's Office and emergency medical services. This proposed budget allocates $694,950 to replace 10 patrol vehicles. It also allocates $802,000 I can't speak. Just over $800,000.
It's tough throwing those big numbers out.
That's right. Just over $800,000 for the replacement of 2 ambulances in fiscal year 25. There's also an allocation of just over $1 million for fire apparatus replacement. We must also offer reliable communications for our public safety response. The county's cache of portable handheld and vehicle mobile radios is reaching end of life. This proposed budget includes an appropriation of $600,000 for the replacement of a combination of 100 portable handheld radios and mobile vehicle radios. So fiscal year 25 is identified as the first year of a 5-year commitment to replacing these radios. All right. Education. So historically, the county has been very supportive of Currituck County schools. This year's recommended local current expense is $14,288,105. With this request, there's also $1,535,000 allocated towards capital outlay. Again, historically, the county provides a $1.4 million contribution to capital outlay. but the school system has requested an additional $135,000 this year for a one-time technology expense purchase. Last year, you all committed to funding improvements identified in the school system's 5-year capital improvement plan at an annual expense of approximately $3.6 million. This proposed budget allocates $2.9 million to support the 5-year capital plan. The total recommended capital outlay allocation is $4,435,000. So with this, the expectation is that the school system will apply approximately $400,000 from state lottery funds and approximately $300,000 from state public schools repair and renovation funds. All right. Tulse Creek Elementary School. Construction began on the new Tulse Creek Elementary School in October 2024. Last year, you all adopted a 4-cent property tax increase for construction of the new elementary school, with the understanding that an additional 4 cents would be required in fiscal year 25 to pay the full debt payment, which equates to approximately 8 cents of the property tax rate. You all have also committed over the years to higher education to ensure access to quality education for those in higher learning. The county's partnered with the College of the Albemarle, and this year we continue that partnership with an allocation of $287,147 to College of the Albemarle. We also look forward to building upon our relationship with Elizabeth City State University as the university expands its aviation science flight program to Currituck County Regional Airport. All right. Personnel requests submitted by department heads for fiscal year 25 indicated the need for thoughtful consideration of how to address our current staffing realities of high turnover, vacancies, and salary shortfalls. This proposed budget includes a banded approach to a cost of living increase that provides for an 8% COLA for grades 50 through 69, a 6% COLA for grades 70 through 79, and a 4% COLA for grades 80 and above. The 8% cost of living adjustment in grades 50 to 69 provides the greatest increase in pay to those positions where we are currently experiencing the greatest turnover and the greatest number of vacancies. For example, there are currently multiple vacancies in social services and emergency medical services. Where the positions within these departments fall within grades 50 to 69 for the most part, and this proposed increase will help make those salaries more competitive. While the cost of living adjustment is a positive step, the proposed COLA does not fully address salary disparities. So this proposed budget also includes the recommendation for a comprehensive salary study to be completed in fiscal year 25. There are several new position requests in the upcoming budget. The first is a Veterans Service Officer, which will join the administration team. This position will be shared with Camden County and will also be partially funded by Camden County. We're looking to add an accounting clerk in finance, a part-time election specialist in elections, a Munis software specialist in the Information Technology Services Department, an additional planning technician, and an EMS logistics specialist in fire EMS. I won't read these all to you, but we're also looking at several reclassifications. The maintenance worker HVAC position in particular has been vacant for, I think, over a year. So we are looking to increase that salary in hopes that we'll be able to attract a candidate. You'll also note the elimination of one position in the Register of Deeds office. This position will be filled for half the year until Natalie Twitty moves into her new role as Register of Deeds. This budget also includes the reclassification of 2 existing vacant positions, deputy positions in the sheriff's office. They have requested that the positions be reclassified to a sergeant position and a lieutenant position. There's also a request to increase the sheriff's salary to $120,000, as well as a increase for the social services director.
While you're on the sheriff's salary, just could you just explain why that is suggested?
Sure. It's due to compression. Currently, the chief deputy salary is within $500 of the sheriff's salary. The sheriff is also not eligible for longevity, whereas the chief deputy is, and that is what is causing this compression.
So, well, are we addressing that longevity now, or are you going to tackle that maybe with a salary study or something? Or?
So the sheriff isn't eligible. Elected officials are not eligible for longevity under the personnel policy, which is why this has become an issue.
So Jeff Walker's within $500 of the 101,310?
Yeah,
Yes.
with his longevity and everything, in August of 2024, or August or September, I believe he would be above him.
Okay.
Not certain of that, but I think due to he is above step 3, or that position is above step 3, so that combined with the longevity causes that compression.
I think the Dare County Sheriff makes 136, and he's got, what, 6 municipalities that do the work? So,
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Enterprise funds. So enterprise funds account for operations that are financed and operated much like a private business. We have 9 enterprise funds, and those are for water, sewer, and solid waste. We'll just touch quickly on some highlighted projects within our enterprise funds. We have a new reverse osmosis well at Historic Corolla Park in connection to Southern Outer Banks water treatment system. This well is currently in design, and construction would be anticipated for the fall of this year. The Southern Outer Banks water treatment expansion is a project that we actually started, I believe, 2 years ago and are almost complete. We're also under design for a 16-inch water main upgrade from the Currituck water tank to Sligo, and 2 new pump stations and modifications to 2 existing pump stations. The new reverse osmosis well number 4 for the mainland plant is almost complete in connection with the water treatment plant. So that project has also been started and is near completion, and as well as the Maple water treatment plant expansion. These projects were also identified last year to acquire land for a new convenience center in Moyock Township, and then design of expansion of the existing convenience site on Panther Landing. We have engaged a consultant for the Panther Landing site, but have not yet purchased property or identified additional property for a second site in Moyock, which is why you'll see that again this year. Tonight, we're just going to highlight 2 of our special revenue funds. The first is the Corolla Fire Service District. Last year, you increased the service district tax from 5 cents to 6 cents because the tax rate did not provide sufficient revenue to support services. And then due to the Court of Appeals decision in the occupancy tax case, we are unable to transfer occupancy tax into Corolla Fire Service District this year. And ultimately, that causes us to increase the current tax rate from 6 cents to 9 cents to be able to cover those services. This proposed budget also includes a rate increase from 6 cents to 9 cents for the Knott's Island Fire Service District. Right. So this recommended budget or proposed budget also includes capital improvement plan. In a deliberate process, county departments were asked to identify capital needs from fiscal year 25 through fiscal year 29. And the results of those deliberations are presented to you in the fiscal year 25 through fiscal year 29 capital improvement plan. The first year of those capital purchases and projects are budgeted within the fiscal year 25 budget. The others are programmed or planned projects and will continue to be vetted as we move forward in future years. The fiscal year 25 proposed budget includes capital allocations in the following amounts. For the general fund, just over $5.6 million. For special revenue funds, just over $1.8 million. And for the enterprise funds, approximately $2.8 million. All right, so as presented above, last year you committed to increasing the property tax rate by 4 cents to fully fund the debt payment for Tulls Creek Elementary School. Excuse me. So this year that requires the additional 4 cents to be able to make that full debt payment. Additionally, this budget proposes an additional 2 cent increase for a total tax rate increase of 6 cents. Which brings our proposed rate to 62 cents per $100 property valuation. This increase is necessary to compensate for the elimination of the use of occupancy tax revenue to supplement public safety services in Corolla. So our overall proposed budget for the general fund for fiscal year 25 is $81,939,449. I believe this operating budget is responsible for addressing community needs and expectations. I will offer that we should consider alternative sources of revenue in future years. I encourage you to consider placing a referendum on the November ballot for the additional 0.25% sales tax under Article 46 of local option sales tax. The revenue is not restricted or earmarked and can therefore be used for any use allowed to counties.
And do you remember, off the top of you, we talked about this briefly, what that actually equates to, what that would generate for us if it would pass?
Approximately $2 million.
Okay.
All right. So this evening you've had the budget presentation. You'll have a budget work session scheduled for June 3rd prior to your next regular meeting. A public hearing is scheduled for the second meeting in June, on June 17th, with possible adoption. And then the effective date of the adopted budget will be July 1st. In closing, I also want to thank department heads for their diligent work and submission of this budget. And I commend the budget to you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Rebecca, if I can ask, when can we get like a zip drive of that before? I know, like in the past.
Sure.
usually-
So yes, I should have. We have a hard copy for you this evening, and we can also provide you with an electronic copy.
Okay. And the public can view this,
Yes,
right, as well?
it will be posted on the website, and also there will be a hard copy available for citizens and for the press in the office of the clerk to the board.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else from Ms. Rebecca this evening?
The hard
A
drive.
lot
we
to
get,
digest.
the hard drive, we get a red magic marker too, right?
That's what the red book's just. We got the book. All right. Rebecca, thank you very much.
Yeah.